Martin, can you just remind us some of the work that Matrix Men does with men who have suffered abuse?
There's a few things that, can I go back a step, Jennifer?
Of course.
A few things. There was a study recently done in the UK where they actually looked at people specifically in sex and porn addiction recovery programs that were actively recovering from them, and the effects of childhood abuse on them was as high as 82% of the people in those facilities were abused sexually as children. So it is a major factor. 82% of anybody in any sex or porn addiction sort of recovery facility in the UK. And it's huge. You know, I've just done, from a Christian perspective, we've done a study now where we're finding that 42% of pastors in the States are addicted to porn. It's a huge growing industry. It is pushed, it's marketed, yet we don't talk about this sort of thing at home. We're not open with our children. You know, I mean, this year alone I've spoken to 2,000 grade 11s, and I speak to them in groups of 20 or 30 at a time so that I can really get an interaction with them. And one of the questions I ask is, I said, who talks about sex with their parents? And we get a very, very, very low response rate, probably around 8 to 12% of kids who actually feel at liberty to be able to talk about this sort of thing with their parents. And if this is how we're raising our children, then now, of course, they are going to start looking at other things, you know, to try and find out more. You know, it's kind of risque because it's all secret, and it might start out that way, but believe you me, it turns into a real mess very, very quickly. And yeah, in terms of Matrix Men, what we do is, as I just mentioned, we spoke to 2,000 kids this year, 2013. Next year, we're planning on talking to 6,000 children, one-on-one, all grade 11s. And as I say, we speak to them in groups of 20 to 30. So we have a real one-on-one sort of interaction with them. And I raise awareness about porn addiction. I raise awareness about sex addiction. And I raise awareness about sexual abuse and that sort of thing as well, especially sexually abused boys, because that's where we come from. What we do as well is we raise awareness about the fact that boys and men are sexually abused and raped, that it happens a lot. We're finding more and more that, as I say, in certain areas of the country, we're finding that the number of boys being sexually abused are almost equal to the amount of girls that are being sexually abused. So we can no longer use this, well, it happens more to girls and it happens more to women, that sort of thing, because it's not like that anymore. This is it's not a gender-specific crime anymore. It's a crime to humanity. And we're finding more and more that boys are being targeted for rape and sexual abuse because boys don't report. You know, I mean, we've had one case this year of a mother was prosecuted in Bloemfontein for raping her son for over a number of years. One case in years and years and years, you know, so that thing is not spoken about. And Matrix Men raises awareness about that. But the most important thing that we do is we help men and their families. So we run support groups, and I kind of don't want to say it's similar to AA, but it is, you know, but it is a group of peers, and peers do tend to understand each other a lot better than a psychologist who hasn't been through that, or a therapist who hasn't been through something similar. So the peer group scenario is where the guy can come in and he can say, you know what, I had this and this thought this week, and the other guys will go, you too, me, I also had that thought, you know. So he feels, one of the guys that came into our group put it really, really aptly. He says, I come here to feel normal once a week. He says, when I come in here, I can say anything. You guys go, yeah, me too, me too. He says, no, I just feel so normal for a change. For once in my life, I feel normal. So, yeah, important things. What do? We raise awareness, we talk to children, and we run support groups, which we'd like to spread throughout the country.
Great. And Cheryl, if someone's suffering with a porn addiction, or any addiction for that matter, how can they go about getting help?
I think they need to look for a therapist or treatment center that does specialize in porn addiction or sex addiction. I'll definitely chat to Martin afterwards about Matrix Men in Joburg, because I'm a big believer in support groups. I think that's the finest way of dealing with shame. And yeah, just talk. Even if it's the wrong people, eventually you will find somebody who gets you, who can help, or who can steer you in the right direction. It's just no longer keeping quiet.
And for those of our viewers who suspect that someone in their life has an addiction,
porn addiction, or like I said before, any addiction, what can they do to help their friends or relatives?
I think get educated, because most people, particularly partners, they, for obvious reasons, overreact. They take it very personally. They punish a lot. They almost abuse their partners in trying to find out if it is a porn addiction. They also got to look at their own behavior. Is porn part of the relationship, and maybe the one partner can switch off and the other partner carries on much later into the night or loses some time out of work? But really, I think it's about destigmatizing it, understanding and knowing that people are susceptible, no judgment, no criticism, getting educated in a healthy way without transferring their emotional issues onto their partner. And Google, find out but who treats it, because not everybody is equipped to treat sexual addiction. They just, some people just minimize it. Other people want to pray it away, chase it away, drink it away. It's about tackling it head on in a dignified way.